One of the many crises plaguing the modern dating world today is the growing political divide between men and women, and this does bear out in the statistics, most notably in Gen Z. The young men are trending rightward, the young women are trending leftward to the extreme side of the spectrum. And this is a stark contrast between millennials, who in the 2010s mostly politically aligned with each other as disproportionately liberal. Now this is a new problem. Liberal women absolutely refuse to date right-leaning men. Even men who are politically centrist or moderate, they completely swear them off as options in the dating pool, leaving them thinking they'll never find someone who fits their standards, and that's one of them. This is exemplified in a TikTok saying, taking girlfriend applications for my fiance's best friend. Do you have that, Brett?
Yep, here we go.
Fun fact about Colin: 6'3", is a teacher, has a house, has a boat, is 30 and ready to start a family. Yep. And, you know, he looks like a normal, dateable guy. He looks eligible. He likes to grill. He's a normal guy.
He didn't put cheese on the burger before it was cooked, so he's human. We at least know he's human. Here we go.
And then the person who posted this said every single comment from the females on this video was just asking how he voted.
Really?
Yep. There were some of the comments posted. Where was he on January 6th, 2021?
Well, then that's just them saying that he's coded a certain way.
Just
He's
like
masculine.
the dating apps, if you're not explicitly stating your political views, we will assume the worst. Another one said, please tell me he looks like a Republican but votes like a Democrat. This is the unicorn man that they're searching for, who has an ounce of masculinity but somehow is still a radical leftist. You're not going to find that guy.
No,
That guy doesn't exist.
Yes, he
Doesn't
does.
exist.
Yes, he does. He's Alan Ritchson. They all want Alan Ritchson.
Maybe there's just one
There's
guy,
one-
but
there's
he's off
literally
the
one.
market, ladies. Alan Ritchson is happily married, but
And he's a Protestant, so they'd hate him for that.
Oh yeah,
and
you can't
even
be.
when these women meet a guy who they like and seems to be a good prospect, they will refuse to take things any further on a serious effort to get to know someone just based on this question of who they voted for. That was a clip from a dating show where this woman has a first date on stage with this guy. She likes him. She thinks it's going well. But this is what sours the entire interaction, the fact that he voted for Trump.
Well, first of all, Lisa, do you consent to a second date?
Do I have a last question that I can ask?
Sure.
Okay, plot twist.
Let's go for it.
So,
It's like bonus rounds.
who did you vote for?
The screeching harpies in the background. She's
I
just
voted
staring at him like
for
a
the-
psycho. Watch him fumble it.
Cabinet.
What was he
But
supposed- what
with
was he
that
supposed
comes
to
a
say?
lot of things, like a cabinet that has.
Most annoying person on the planet.
Oh, heart is broken. I enjoyed my evening with you, but I have to stick to my morals and my principles.
I'm sure you have morals and principles, sweetheart.
Such as killing my babies.
Yeah.
The crowd has turned into Jerry Springer up in here. This is hilarious.
Fight.
All right. Well, Lisa, thank you so much.
And Lisa is going to be alone forever if she continues operating like this. The guy fucked up though. He tried to skirt around the answer. He was hoping he could kind of couch it. He could disguise himself as a centrist. No, like, you voted for Trump because you support Trump. Don't try to say, oh, like, I don't know, I was like voting for some of his cabinet appointees, blah, blah, blah. Like, stop. Okay? Just be real about who you are, and you will filter out the people like Lisa in the process. But then some right-wing men take the opposite extreme, and they choose to put forward their political beliefs to the extent that it's disturbing to the women that they date. This was posted by a Twitter user saying he's married. He was talking to his single friend who said he was planning to wear a MAGA hat on the first date. He said, I wouldn't recommend a MAGA hat. Well-calibrated women tend to be disinterested in politics. He just said, his single friend said, gay. And he says, it says less about your politics and more about, I publicly look for political fights with strangers. It's a sort of abrasiveness that women who are generally disinterested in politics don't like. So he's taking the opposite approach where he's going to lead with politics and make
As a
it the
filter.
central focus.
As a filter.
Which even would put off a right-wing woman, perhaps. I think a guy going to a first date in a MAGA hat is a turnoff.
I wouldn't want to. I mean, but the thing is like when we were young, you were trained to not talk about
Right.
religion and politics at dinner, and now it's all anybody wants to talk about because they put themselves into the echo chambers where you're only talking with people that you agree with, and the people that do like to fight with people. And I post this all the time where I'm like, this stuff just gets. It gets to be annoying and it gets to be exhausting, and a lot of people are like, I love it. I live for it. And I'll never understand that. I understand that those people exist, that they get a certain energy from fighting with people about this stuff.
Sure.
I think it's dorky on both sides. I think what that woman did is ridiculous and dorky, but it was good for both of them because neither of them would have been happy together in the end anyways. But being so focused on it that you have to use it as a filter that you could do through a question
Right.
is ridiculous too.
The common sense approach is don't lie about it, but
Exactly.
also don't lead with it because that will put off even people who are open-minded
Yeah.
to other political beliefs or who even agree with you about politics. And I think if you are that type of person who gets excited about debating people on these things, debate with your bros. You don't need to take that energy into a first date. That means you're not fun.
Yes. Remember, you do want to be honest, but you want to be fun, or
Like-
else she's not going to want a second date.
Women make a similar mistake going into dates where they treat it like a job interview and they come into it with this mindset of efficiency and ticking boxes, which means you're not actually going to form a connection with someone or show them your sense of humor or what you're interested in outside of your political beliefs. So I think both sides could learn from this. Another example, Dating in NYC summed up. This guy was planning to go on a first date, probably from a dating app.
Yeah,
he
this
was
one I saw. This one
confirming
is amazing. How many views did this thing end up getting?
at
It's
the
over
moment 10 million, yeah.
Jeez.
Almost 11 million
So
views.
he made so much money because
Yeah.
she was a dummy.
He said he was confirming their reservation, and she said, "Hey, yes, that still works. I did just want to ask one thing to make sure we're on the same page and not waste time. Did you vote for Zoran for mayor? I'm really excited he won."
But
And then he
just
sends
canceled
back a screenshot of him canceling their dinner reservation. No
hilarious.
comment added.
That is the best. That is
She-
so perfect.
She then replies, "Glad we didn't waste each other's time. I also now have seen you posted this screenshot on Twitter. Your page is disgusting. If you do not delete your post, I'm going to the police." Perfect timing.
I don't know what she would do. Like, why? Because he like showed her first name.
I don't know. Standing
know.
on business at the beach.
Is
And then she said, "I don't need this in my life right now. This week has been insanely stressful." And then he said, "Didn't you just vote to defund the police? Now you want to call them over a Twitter post? Good luck." And she replied, "Please do not message me or contact me again. I have reported your post to the police. You will also be hearing from my lawyer."
That's great.
This
I
is
love
the
it.
level of mental derangement that men are dealing with in the dating pool with specifically radically liberal women, mostly city-dwelling women.
yeah, and here's the thing: is it's we've had this discussion before, where for most people they understand that politics usually ends up lining up because it's with how prevalent it is in society today. It's kind of a misnomer to believe that a lot of people are going to be wildly politically divergent and still get along. Now, I believe that you could be wildly politically one direction and be with somebody who's apolitical, but that always runs the risk that they're going to end up getting interested in it, and you might not always like, and they might not always agree with what you believe in.
I don't inherently disagree with liberals or leftists wanting to date someone who politically aligns with them. That's fine.
Yeah.
But they take it to an extreme where they dehumanize someone for their views and sometimes want to destroy their life over it.
Yep.
It's not then just about your ability to build a life with this person and raise kids with similar values. At that point, it's just about telling someone you're not worthy of love because you voted for Trump.
Yep.
And that's the type of person you're dealing with. And I am going to call back again to this Wall Street Journal article that's getting a lot of attention. American Women Are Giving Up on Marriage is the title if you want to go read the full thing. But I've brought this up for the last couple of days, and I swear I'll be done soon. There is a section of it about political affiliation and divergent worldviews that they credit for the decline in marriage, especially from the side of women who are selecting partners. They interview a woman named Alicia Jones who lives in DC. She identifies as politically moderate. She thinks couples with kids should split household and childcare responsibilities equally. She was surprised by just how few of the men she encountered share this view. Either they held traditional ideas about marriage or were extremely crunchy liberal and wanted to live in a van and drive across the country. Before she pulled back from dating, she tried her luck at a singles event and left only friends with women. A growing political divide between men and women has compounded the challenges of finding love. This stat kind of threw me for a loop. So in 2024, 39% of women ages 18 to 29 identified as liberal. I honestly expected that number to be way higher than 39%. This is from a Gallup poll, compared with 25% of their male peers, 18 to 29. This gap has more than tripled in a decade. Back in 2014, only 32% of women and 28% of men called themselves liberal. So the proportion of men that identify that way has decreased. The proportion of women that identify that way has increased. And they are just on opposite trajectories and are not going to meet in the middle. That trend doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon.
Nope.
So politics have now become an expression of one's core values about everything from economic inequality to bodily autonomy, abortion. They are reflective of people's entire worldviews. The last presidential election and first months of the Trump administration have intensified this rift. They also mention a 33-year-old real estate agent named Rachel in Georgia who broke up with her boyfriend with whom she shares a 5-year-old son over a year ago because she was tired of doing most of the childcare, cooking, and scheduling while earning almost double her boyfriend's salary. She has yet to date anyone else, in part because she worries about living in a red state with a 6-week abortion ban, even though this woman is a mother. She says, I have a child that I can't leave behind to drive to Virginia if I had a pregnancy scare, and I definitely can't afford another child as a single mom. Okay, so that just means you chose to have a child with an unsuitable partner, and you're planning to not use contraception and use abortion as contraception instead. And that's why you're not going to settle down with anyone going forward.
Or she does use contraception. She's very, very neurotic and is thinking about the outside chance of this happening.
And then they go into the growing movement of single mothers by choice, which is gaining more and more interest from millennial women.
Well, it's going to keep happening because their wages are growing. First of all, the guy she was with sounds horrible. If she was making
sure, but she sounds horrible
double.
too.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like there are no winners in this fight.
Right.
The guy sounds like a piece of crap, expecting her to do all the housework while making none of the money or barely any of the money.
Right. Like, I understand some of the reasons that they cited for being single. However, some of this is self-inflicted. We can admit that, especially when the liberal women in question are looking for the ideal male partner who makes more money than them, looks traditionally masculine, behaves in a traditionally masculine way, is chivalrous, pays the bill, and also happens to be a radical leftist, left of AOC. Countless liberal women have said that they are sick of liberal men's shit. They don't want to date men who paint their nails and split the bill and want equality in a relationship. They don't want to go 50-50. They don't want to date a guy who doesn't assume these traditionally masculine roles. They have admitted as such, and they're not willing to make the compromises necessary to find that type of guy and be the type of woman that guy is interested in. So I mean, you didn't hear it from me. Like, do what you want to do with your life. Be alone if you want. There are a lot of people who are going to end up alone. That's the sad reality of it.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.